Hi, Tribe Builders. This is Tanya Rooney coming at you. I'm super stoked to have the person on today. This is one of my favorite fucking people ever. I met her in HBM, which is Hosting Business Mastery. It's a short-term rental group that I've been a part of for a few years. She's one of the coaches in there. She's one of the many people I've trapped into friendship. I think now she's okay with it, though. I don't think she hates it. She is a super badass host in Arizona, and I'm excited just to talk to her about things. She teaches me things literally every freaking week. I like say random things to people I work with, and I'm like, oh, Wendy actually made me say that. And she doesn't make me say anything, but just like, being around her aura, you kind of just start picking up on things she does, and then you do it, which is my favorite kind of people. So, without further ado, ta-da! Wendy Doris. Hi, how's it going?
Oh, that was a wonderful intro. Thank you. I feel really special.
Wendy, tell anybody listening, what do you got going on? What are you doing?
I just returned from a long trip in Europe away from my
Awesome.
business. I feel rejuvenated. But I am a host in Phoenix and Scottsdale, and we manage 20 properties, one of which is mine. Yeah, so we're co-hosts basically.
Mhm. And you've been in real estate a while, right?
Yes. I think I've been hosting for maybe 7 or 8 years since 2018, however much that math is. And then before that, I flipped houses for 16 years.
Yeah, and you had like a whole thing. Like it feels like sometimes when I talk to you, like we all have multiple lives in a way, but that was like a life. It was like a whole entire thing that you did and a whole persona that you even had on the internet. And now it's, hosting Wendy.
Yeah, I feel like I've had like 9 lives with my careers. Before that, I was making wedding invitations and helping my aunt manage an invitation store in Cincinnati. And before that, I was a gymnastics coach. So yeah, it's kind of morphed over the years. I don't, who knows what's next?
I actually, that's really interesting because, a whole entire group that we hang out with is like that. You find out about all these things, and it must be business ownership or entrepreneurship or maybe like the entrepreneurial spirit or something, because it feels like a lot of people have kind of changed what they do. We're not necessarily the people that are doing the same thing for 45 years.
Well, yeah,
So,
and I mean, if you think about it, hosting, yeah, vacation rentals have been around for a long, long time, but the whole Airbnb thing hasn't. So,
mhm.
where you live and where I lived in Cincinnati, uh, like vacation rentals really didn't exist. It's not like we're in Hilton Head or, you
Yeah,
know,
not
somewhere
everybody
where,
wants to come to Minneapolis.
yeah. So, I mean,
It's like,
it's a new thing relatively,
yeah.
and who knows what AI is going to do to make the next new thing. So you got to stay on your toes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Tell me what kinds of things your business or what you have to do in your business, for the folks that work for you, and just like, what does your business like look like? What kinds of things do you do every day?
That has been changing over the last, well, every year I would suppose it changes, but last year we had two co-hosts. That's what we call them, but like two people that are kind of the hospitality and operations managers for the day. And then I really haven't been doing that for a while. So just answering guest messages and handling plumbing issues or whatever kind of stuff comes up. Um, and then this year we have five, I believe, 5 or 6, 5.5.
Hmm.
So those are people that are just felt like running the day-to-day things. We have more properties than we've had. And so I'm not doing any of that anymore. I'm kind of the manager of those people and also doing marketing, pricing, revenue management, and then just running the behind the scenes, I suppose. Um, and I'm constantly trying to figure out what my job is, honestly. So,
I
like,
can
what am I
attest to
doing
that,
today?
actually.
Yeah, it's hard to, I feel like, oh, okay, we really need to do better at marketing. So I'll dive into marketing, and social media and whatever. And I'm also constantly trying to figure out who can I hire to take over those things that I'm not doing a very good job at. So,
It's totally cool. What okay, I met you in HBM. Can you tell me your experience of like why did you join a mastermind? What did that look like? What happened? Like that kind of stuff.
I really like teaching and sharing my perspective. I think if anyone's aware of human design, I'm a projector. And I like to share my perspective, even if you don't want to hear it. So um, I used to do that with flipping houses. I would share that perspective on Instagram, and I wrote a book because people wanted to pick my brain all the time. And we sold over 1,000 copies of that. And then I realized that I don't really have the motivation or time to put together, like, I don't know, workshops or a group or anything like that when I'm running my own business. So joining HBM was great for me, first of all, to learn. And then second, they asked me to help teach. And so I do coaching calls in there, and I really like it because I don't have to do any of like the organizational parts of that. I just get to help other hosts. And at any one time, there's hundreds of people in there learning, and I get to try to help them. So I really like that.
That's awesome. Before, when you were a flipper, did you do a lot of things solo? Did you join any groups about flipping or, like when did that start happening and did it have anything to do with flip time?
No, I didn't join any groups. I didn't really know there was anything like that. And actually, that's one of the things I hated about flipping was it felt very isolated. And I suppose hosting would feel that way too if I had not joined HBM. So I would say joining HBM has helped with that. Having people on my team now has helped with that. And the offshoot groups like well, you and I are in a pseudo group that was an offshoot of HBM called the Grade Eight, and it's 8 of us that just text, and then others just group texts that we have learning from each other. I think that's really helped from the isolation standpoint, especially. I mean, I think that a lot of entrepreneurs have that issue where it just feels like you're the only one, and I no longer feel like that. I haven't really thought about that in a while. Um, but yeah, mastermind groups definitely help with that.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that too. That's a really good way to say it because there's plenty of people out there that are like, this is so hard and this is like, why is this happening to me? But if you were to be friends with other people doing those things, you'd know that it's happening to them too, and then you could talk about it and figure out how to like get out of it and stuff. And do you do a lot of crowdsourcing for ideas of things? Like, how do you utilize a group? Like, what kinds of things do you get out of it now that you're already into it?
I used to do that on Instagram a lot. When I was flipping houses, I built an Instagram, um, I don't know, account that had a
Following.
following. Thank you.
Mhm.
And so I would crowdsource that way, just asking people for people's perspectives, and I kind of got away from that. Um, I also would do that on in HBM or just crowdsource ideas, even if I already knew what I wanted to do. I really love getting other people's perspectives. Um, Even on this trip, like there were so many things that I'm like, why are they doing this? Like, we stayed in like 10 different places, and I really can't wait to get up back on Instagram and or Facebook or wherever and just ask like, what's up with Europe and not having top sheets? Like I don't understand it. And what's the
They don't have
perspective
top
of that?
sheets. They
They
don't have
don't
top
use flat
sheets.
sheets.
Huh. I have so many questions too, actually.
And then like I think I did a post about that mounted toilet paper holder. Like
Mhm.
there were two in the bathrooms. One was sideways and one's up. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing that? And the answer was obvious. It's just an extra roll of toilet paper. But why is it mounted to the wall? And
Uh-huh.
we don't mount anything to the wall because it always comes out of the wall. So uh, I love getting different people's perspectives on that. It's just
Mhm.
one of my, I don't even know where this question went, but it's derailed.
It's totally fine. Um, actually, I'm really curious what you think of groups, like people paying to be in a group. Like in
Mm.
general, there's different camps of people on whether or not you join a group and how much you spend to be in that group and if you think it's worth it, and talk about that.
Well, I I was kind of thinking about this when you asked earlier about being isolated as an entrepreneur when you join like Facebook groups to get other people's perspectives and try to figure out answers. That can be a real crapshoot because people are assholes.
Mhm.
They'll just tell you you're an idiot for not knowing how to handle a situation. But when you're in a paid group like HBM, um, I don't know. I think there's a different level of, well, first of all, it's expected that you don't sound off and troll people like you would, like some people would, on a free group. But it's understood that we're all paying to be there. It's important to us, and we're there to ask these like tough questions that we have no one else to ask, or you may not
Mhm.
have someone else to ask. Um, so I think the paid group is even without the other learning things that are offered in that group, just having like this higher level of expectation, um, that everyone's paying to be there to learn. I don't know why it makes such a difference, but it does. I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen some people kind of say some stuff that's borderline, and we get upset about it, like borderline trolly,
Yeah,
and
condescending.
we yeah we get upset about it. So yeah, why
So
is it that
you're
paying?
okay with it.
What?
So you're okay with paying for things.
Yeah, was that too long of an answer for
No,
that?
no, 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 not at all. No, it's just like what it comes down to is like some people, I really think you price people out by doing that, which is a really good thing because there's just people that have a different attitude when they won't pay for anything or pay to be around the people that are like them. And it seems like you pretty much said exactly what I feel like I'm always preaching. I'm just like, I hate free Facebook groups.
Maybe trolls won't pay.
Yeah. If they do, then it's like, huh, you paid to be a troll in this group?
Right.
Weird. What a weird thing to do. It's totally a thing that probably happens, though.
I know, it totally does. I
Huh.
don't know.
Yeah.
I find it interesting to get in the mindset of a troll. There's so many of them out there, and it's really hard to share on social media now because even the most innocent thing that you might say, like, Europe, why are you mounting your extra toilet paper rolls, can
Mhm.
turn into someone's upset by that. And yeah, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah, I don't really get it either. It seems like a weird place to spend your time. This
Yeah.
is like the best way for me to put it. Tell me if you, okay. I have this question I typically ask about like where's a random place you've met somebody that it turned into a business relationship, a mentorship, like anything like that that's like seemingly very random, like in line at a bank or, I don't know, swimming laps at the pool. You got any cool stories about that?
Yeah. Uh, Before the mastermind groups and all of that, like the people would reach out to me a lot on Instagram, and I found it to be really, I met a lot of people that way. But in particular, I met a friend named Brenna Brooks, and she lives in Louisville, Kentucky, and um, didn't know her at all. I don't know why we started talking. Maybe just she was flipping houses too. But she happened to also have a day job, like a real job, and they were headquartered in Cincinnati. And so she said, "Hey, I'm coming up to Cincinnati to work. Do you want to meet up?" And I'm like, "Well, like you're not a killer or like you're not going to murder me or anything, right?" Like meeting a stranger on the internet, and then they want to meet you, and so we met up and became good friends, and we ended up writing that house flipping book together.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and she actually, I mean, we did that, I don't know, oh, 15 years ago or something like that. And we just sold another one like 3 weeks ago. And it's like, I mean, the information's old. I can't believe somebody bought it. But um, yeah, it was really random to me. And we still text each other. She sent me a house today that she thought was cool. So
That's super awesome. So, like on Instagram, it's kind of funny because there's a lot of people that I've started to meet on Instagram too. And then when you see them in real life, you're just like, this is so weird. Like, I know so many things about you, but they're so cool. And you just like, I don't know, like, although social media is not great, honestly, it brings out the best and the worst in us, I think. And there can be so many negatives, but there's still positives, even in the gross climate that we might be in, or whatever way we're going. And I suppose it's all about intention. Like if you're using it in a gross way, it's going to be gross, like as in to troll people or to be rude. But if you're using it to potentially find a connection with somebody or to not feel alone, that feels like a really good way to use it.
yeah, I think that you can find a common ground with people. I mean, Sarah Karakayan, who's the one of the um, HBM founders, I met her through Instagram, and she invited me to the group, and that's how that started. So I think that you can find commonality with people that you would never meet in real life because they live somewhere else or whatever. And I tend to be a little bit hesitant with some. I can chat with people easily, but then when it comes to meeting or something more serious, like meeting in person,
Yeah, getting out
uh,
of the friend zone.
yeah, I found that I am a little bit more sketched out by that. Even in real life, somebody might, start talking to me and be friendly and want to be, eventually it's a dumb way of saying it, but want to be friends. And I'm like, why? What do you want from me? And I don't know if that's an Instagram byproduct, but it is something I struggle with. Like, what do you want from me? Like, what are you trying to get from me? Is that weird? Is that a problem?
It's no, actually it kind of tracks in a way. Like I feel like so anybody that's listening that might not know this story, I made this group called like it ended up becoming called the Great Eight. I reached out to a few people in my hosting group and just said like, hey, I want to work on a couple of hosting things like in an accountability group. This is the commitment, this is the time commitment, things like that. And would you be interested? You'll need to figure out something yourself to work on, whatever. I sent out probably like 5 or 6 of these messages, and 3 people, maybe 4, said yes. And eventually all the ones that said no at the time had all since joined our little group. And it's hard at first, because sometimes people are like, what do you want from me? Or they like, sometimes it's hard for me because I know how great accountability groups are because obviously I'm a huge cheerleader of them and I know what people will get out of them. And it's not necessarily about even the goal sometimes. It's about like the relationship that you're going to make with these people. And it's about the like small things that you need help with that you're like, hey, shit, somebody just did this at one of my houses and like we're gonna have to cancel the next guest because of it. Like, how the hell do I deal with this? And those are the reasons that you join groups or that you find people. It's not about like learning all of the new things in the whole entire world and doing that kind of stuff. It's about the things that you don't know about yet that you're gonna have to deal with. That is way easier to crowdsource how to fix it. So in this case, like you even saying like you're skeptical of that stuff, I remember you being skeptical enough, but I also remember being able to convince you enough. And this is just kind of something that happens, and that like it turned out pretty good. Like we get like so much more information out of each other, and we know each other in different ways now. So it's like I know the kinds of stuff that I want to go to you with questions. I know the kind of stuff that I want to go to Kylan about, like because of the way she looks at things as black and white or whatever it might be. It's like, okay, I need her perspective on this. So getting to know people, then you know who you should go to when you fucking need help. No?
Yeah, and I think that it's probably healthy to be like, wait, why? What do you want from me? Because some people do. They want things.
Yeah.
And not like in a answer my questions kind of way, but like free design advice or you and I have both had that like let's meet up for a cup of coffee and so I can pick your brain issue. And
Mm-hmm.
so hence why I wrote a book so that I didn't have to feel awkward about answering those questions anymore. Just say, "Oh, I don't have time for coffee, but here's a book." And I think I don't know if that's how we something about you made me say, "Okay, she's not." gonna steal my time.
No, even though I asked you to commit to like essentially 15 hours of stuff. Whatever.
It
Whatever it
must have
was, I
felt
did
like there was
convince.
something in it for me.
Yeah,
So,
it's okay. I think yeah, you're probably right in the fact that having a little bit of a skepticism of that. I don't always know how to discern where the skepticism needs to be for me because I'm just friendly. So it's like some months I'm just like overly friendly with my time. I won't have any time for myself, and then following months after that, I won't give anybody any time, and then I don't feel fulfilled or something. And I don't know what the magic bullet is for that, but it depends on my mood and I suppose somebody's vibe. And I'm like, let's
you
just do
know,
vibe checks.
this is actually interesting conversation because now that I think about it, when we've talked about this, I want to um, I want to cold call people and reach out to people to try to develop a relationship to, ha- they're bringing people into town. I want to host their guests.
Hmm.
But how does that help them? And that's something that's holding me back from reaching out to them because I don't know how that helps them. And I don't want to reach out and say, hey, I've got this. I think your people would be interested in it. But it doesn't help them at all. Right. So, like, this is almost in reverse now. The reverse problem that I want to reach out to somebody and I'm asking them for the quote unquote cup of coffee to pick their
Yeah.
brain. And I don't have anything to offer them aside from their client could be my client too. So,
Yeah. But couldn't you, I'm assuming that this is to get people to stay in your houses, right? And
yeah.
it's maybe a company that brings people in, like let's just
Hmm.
say it's a recruiter that brings people in to interview for jobs for this one company. Um, but couldn't you do stuff like offer them money, offer them
Like a
some kind
referral
of
fee.
advertising? Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people who do a referral fees.
I suppose the ease of having someone to call for their people, for a place for their people to stay would be helpful, especially since we have 20 properties. But yeah, I guess I am always trying to figure out how can I benefit someone else and not just take. And
Yeah.
this all stems from Instagram, I think.
Yeah, probably.
You Instagram for
Well,
my insecurities.
but couldn't you like even continuing on with this is like could you do a guaranteed stay? Like no matter what, regardless of what their dates are, you guarantee that you'll give them a stay. So if your 20 properties are unavailable, you go
I can
to
find one.
10 other places. Like I mean, you have a pretty good network in Arizona at this point. You know a lot of other hosts. So it's like, "Oh,
Yep.
okay, then I'm going to call Brindy, then I'm going to call, then I'm going to call, then I'm going to call," like all these
Yeah.
different people. So you could do like something like that, that it's like, I guarantee the stay because you like, so you don't have to worry about that. Like, you don't have to
That
worry about coordinating any of it. You just send us a text message and tell us the dates and how many people.
that's a great idea. That sounds very like Miracle on 13th Street or whatever it's called. You ever see that movie?
Think about the Christmas movie.
Yeah. They said if we don't have it,
Miracle
we'll
on
tell you where you
34th
can buy
Street.
it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, truly, if that, because that doesn't that feel like something that you could offer?
It
That's,
takes a load off of their shoulders, right?
yeah, yeah, because whenever I travel somewhere, I'm just like, man, which friend do I have to call? Or, like, oh, I know this person lives in this area, so I should see if they've got any houses they co-host or host or whatever. And it is kind of like a thing. Like, I really just want a resource. Honestly, I don't want to have to use Airbnb. I want to only have hosts that I know, like, and trust, and I want a database of them. And that's the only people in the database. Like, they have to, it's kind of like how Angie's List became Angie's List, is like it was about the people that she already knew and liked and trusted and wanted to tell her friends about it. And I feel like me and you, Wendy, have this in common, that it's like when somebody wants something, they're like, who should I go to? Well, when you're in the flipping world, real estate, people want, like, a normal average Joe that wants something done to their house, they go to the people that they know are doing that. And you created that on the internet. I've created that on the internet, that people are like, well, hey, do you have a plumber? And so we're the resource. So in this case is like convincing that client team or recruiting team, hey, we're a really good resource. Like, first one, I'll give you a couple of $100 off, like just to show you we'll do it. We will show up, here's the email directly of the person that you're going to text every time or email every time with what you need, the dates, and we'll always get it, regardless if it's our house or not, like stuff like that.
That's a
Because
great idea.
we're good at being resources. Like that is 100% something we have in common that we've had in common for a while. And that's why we get along so well. It's like,
That's
we're
so
resourceful
true.
as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, Airbnb is there's so many houses on there, and um,
Yeah,
it's
everybody's a super
overwhelming.
host. Well, everybody's a super host. Like, it's weird because now, like, I mean, as hosts, me and you both have our own criteria of how we utilize Airbnb. We probably both go on to Airbnb to figure out what's out there. And then we do see if there's any cookie crumbs to book direct. And if there isn't, what does that look like? And there's things that now that there's hundreds of thousands of hosts, okay, well, how do we discern which hosts to go with or which houses to go with? So now, there's a reason I only stay in 4.9 and above, because at least that's like a cutoff at this point, because there's thousands and thousands of others. So why not do it this way? So we just kind of keep coming up with these ways we cut it off. So Airbnb is still great, honestly. Like, they give both of us a ton of business. We really appreciate it. They dictate a lot of things though, and I think they're kind of like having a narcissistic boyfriend or husband or spouse or partner, because we're like scared of what they're going to think when we do this thing, and we're scared of like, oh my god, if we didn't get 5 stars, shit. Like, we literally get jittery, and we have different expectations of things in life because of the way we're being treated. And it's because we want our houses, we want our owners. Like, in your case, you want your owners. In my case, I want me to be able to still sell my product. I want people to have a great time. But if Airbnb doesn't put us in a spot that they can even see we exist, then we don't exist. So we have to act differently. And they've dictated things. So it's like, I would love to just have like a network of, here, these are the houses you should stay at instead, because then I don't have to use Airbnb.
I mean, if I know somebody in the area where I'm going to visit, I usually try to reach out to them first before I go on Airbnb. Um, because we have a high standard, and it's not just whether a place looks good. I want it to
Yeah.
be safe. I want to know that the host is going to respond. So that's something I look for if I'm literally looking on Airbnb, is like, do the reviews reflect like the host was responsive and that sort of thing. Um, Even the place we just stayed, the front door, like there was a key. I don't want to go into the specifics, but there was something that wasn't working. And so I was happy that they just at least responded. And, they didn't have to fix whatever it was. It was fine that it wasn't being fixed, but at least they responded and didn't ghost me the whole time, which I've had happen. So,
Yeah,
um,
it's super frustrating, honestly.
yeah,
Like, I agree with you. It's like, if I were to actually, let's do this right now. If we were to recreate Airbnb, like, what would be the top 4 things we care the most about like a
safety.
house? Safety. I
Yeah.
agree,
And
by the
I
way.
think there's a degree of that. Um, like what kind of safety? Like you have one smoke detector, but you sleep 27 people.
That makes my heart batter a little harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, caring about safety, I think, is really important. And I just went on a rant about it last night, that it's like, is there proper egress? If you just stuck 6 people, like, it's really cool that you have basement bedrooms. Like, I grew up in a place with basements. Like, I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah.
So lower level bedrooms are awesome. But how many people can sleep down there? I've slept in a lower level place that could sleep 8, and then the rest of the house could sleep fucking 20. Like, it was a huge house. But out of those 8 people in the basement, there was zero form of egress. Out of any of the bedrooms, the only way in and out was one staircase. And
Yep.
that's the kind of stuff that I think some hosts don't think of, is like, cool, you have a really neat loft space. That's awesome. How do guests get out if there's a fire at the stairs? Like, do they have to go through the stairs? Are you providing fire blankets, which I know Justin Ford doesn't like? And by the way, anybody listening, Justin Ford is the foremost speaker on safety in short-term rentals and trying to prevent deaths in short-term rentals. Like, not to sugarcoat it, but how do you get your guests out? And like, I know that a ton of people think fire extinguishers are ugly and I don't care. Like, I don't care if there's a giant red fire extinguisher because it's not about it being pretty, it's about it being functional. And, if the fire extinguisher is under the sink, is somebody going to save your house by going under the sink? The likelihood is they're not going to. I know that people think that that's good enough, but if you want to protect your asset in some way, shape, or form, you would put it on the fucking wall where
Well, not
somebody
to mention like just how much crap
is under the sink.
collects underneath the sink, bug spray and all sorts of whatever, and the fire extinguisher doesn't get used most, so it's buried
Mm-hmm.
back in the creepy depths of behind underneath the sink. Um, and these are just things we've taken over some properties recently where uh,
There's zero safety
zero.
considered. Zero safety considered. It doesn't mean like there isn't any, but it's just like if it's not considered and if it's overlooked, it's
Hmm.
definitely not going to be a thing.
Yeah,
So
that's the
safety.
top of my list right there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what else would we, if we created our own Airbnb, what else? Responsiveness. It sounds like responsiveness and
Yeah.
communication is a big one. That's
I
what
think
we'd
that's
rate people
really
on.
important because people don't know anything about your house, and no matter how many signs you put up and how many things you try to explain, there's a lot going on. You just arrived to a place, a town that you maybe have never been to, maybe a country you've never been to. You don't understand what things say. You know, it's funny for people. It's funny to think about it, but like, do people coming to the US know to call 911? They do not. I wouldn't know who to call in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
It's a good point. Europe, I don't know. You're right.
These are things that keep me up at night or kept me up on at night in Europe. Like, how does this door work? I don't know how this door works. Like, I don't know who to call. I don't know how to open this window. Like, there's a lot of you should be available to answer these questions
Hmm.
as a
Yeah.
host, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I think another thing on the list would definitely have to be cleanliness, but there probably has to be some kind of version of what does cleanliness look like? Because there's so many different versions. There's anal people's cleanliness of like, holy Hannah, there's a small dust bunny underneath the bed, and they'll, not give a great rating. But then on the flip side, the house is definitely clean, but there's dust on the top of the doors and there's definitely dust on the baseboards. You know, like how do you rank cleanliness where it seems reasonable?
Yeah, I guess there's different degrees of it, and I kind of put this at the bottom of the list now because I feel like it's standard. Um, I stayed in a place where I pulled back the sheet and there was a big black hair. And I think a lot of people would be like, I'm out. I'm like, I know people have hair and I took it off and I just, whatever. And I'm not, I want things to be clean, but
Of course. But that cleaner probably was like rushing through and one of her hairs came off.
right,
That's what it was. I
whatever.
agree.
My hair's everywhere, all over the place. Luckily, I don't clean our places. Luckily for everyone else. Um, but yeah, yes, cleanliness I just feel is like an obvious. I don't know.
It
Maybe I
should
put it,
be until you go to a cheap place and you realize, holy shit, they definitely didn't clean. Like when there's gunk on the counters or a dirty sponge that it's
yeah.
fine if you reuse sponges, but if you've had somebody reuse a sponge for 4 months, that's
No, that's gross.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I feel like there's definitely levels, but it still has to be a thing because someone will always ruin it, right?
I guess. Wait, who's gonna ruin it?
Well, some host is
Oh,
gonna, or it, and then there's cases where like literally a cleaner forgot to show up or didn't show up because they didn't know because something with your system like that is a
right.
very obvious like okay we need to put those guests somewhere else or we have to get a cleaner over there ASAP buy these people dinner so it
Hmm.
gives me 2 or 3 hours to get this place clean and
Yeah.
changed over.
Yeah. I would say it ranks three for me.
Okay.
Cleanliness below safety and
Yeah.
hospitality.
Is there anything else you would put on the list of like, as a host, this is what we care about? Oh, how about transparency? And the reason I say that is it looks like the pictures. That's really what it looks like. To me, that should actually rank
Yeah, that's
on.
important and not even just what does it look like, but like For instance, this place we just stayed in had 3 bedrooms, and one of them didn't have air conditioning.
Oh,
So
that should be a
it had
note.
listed on the listing that the place had air conditioning, but it was actually there's a mini split in one bedroom and a mini split in the other bedroom, and the rest of the living area and the other bedroom didn't have it.
Oh,
And maybe it's not always like not required, but like it's in a location that doesn't necessarily always get hot enough for it. But um, that kind of transparency I feel is very important because people want to know what they're getting. It's already an unknown,
hmm,
until you're staying there. Like, you don't really know where this place is. You don't really know this town. You don't know this host. So to have that transparency is very important. Yes, I rank that high. I agree.
yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, that one. Well, I've had it happen that I've been angry and he didn't know why I was angry. I'm like, you took the table that sat 16 people and the huge wraparound couch that sat 20 people and you replaced it with a four-person table and a pool
Mm,
table and you said that it was okay. And then you took away the couch completely. There's no couch anymore. That like
wow.
those are the kinds of things that I'm just like, wait a minute, like we booked this because there were 16 of us and we wanted to sit around and be able to mastermind on the TV and put up like slides and things like that. And all of that was taken away. And you've decided because you put nicer stuff somewhere else that it was comparable and it's not. That's the kind of transparency that bothers me, that it's like, this actually matters. It matters a lot. So,
Yeah. Smoke detector. Again, this place had a smoke detector, but it had
mhm.
one
That's
place used it.
something though, if you go to different countries, is really different. It really, really is. Like safety in other countries is not the same as safety here. And I suppose that's the reason it's not created all equal in
Right.
America, because we do not have the same certificate of occupancy expectations in state to state. And whether that's right or wrong, that's not really a debate that I'm interested in. It's about, there's a human life in there and who wants to be remembered for somebody dying in their house because they didn't have a smoke detector. Smoke detectors are like $50 or less. It's not that
Yeah.
big of a deal to just put that in there. Like you definitely make enough money that you could afford a $50 smoke detector.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think
but
going back to the thing you were saying about changing out the furniture or whatever, um, I feel like if you're going to change something out, it has to be better and it has to
mhm.
accommodate the same, but doesn't necessarily have to have. I mean, it would be nice to have new photos of it, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
like if
But you would like tell somebody. Like it's funny, I've just changed decor and I tell somebody like, "Hey, just giving you a heads up. Haven't gotten pictures done yet, but we changed the decor. This and this. Everything is the same as in you'll always be able to, have the same amount of people in there, but just letting you know it's going to look different. It's going to be different colors." Like that's like how deep I go with
that's
that. So,
interesting. I've changed the design before and didn't get new photos yet. Like I took a one of those canvases of like big steer or like
mhm.
whatever and took it down and put some, and we were just in the middle of changing some things up and somebody was really upset that
The
cow
steer
was
was gone.
missing.
Would you
I was
like
like,
the cow? I
really?
have it in storage. You can have it. Take it
Wow.
home with you.
Yeah. But I mean, typically whatever we have changed has been better and accommodated
Mhm.
more. But I do reach out. I personally don't reach out, but our team does reach out, especially ahead of time if we're changing beds. Not necessarily like the same for like a queen for a queen, but like if we're going from a queen to bunk beds in that room, we're going to call them and actually not going to tell them we're doing it. We're going to say, "Do you need that? We would like to implement it," and we will not implement until after the last guest who was requiring that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like we
Yep.
wouldn't, if somebody's
You
staying in 2 months and they need that queen bed, we won't do it until after that. So
Yeah, which is actually the right thing to do. I mean, truly, like if this is the expectation and this is the new expectation or what they're going to get, I think it's giving people a heads up. So we have done stuff like that, or we've, taken out some of the twin mattresses because nobody ever uses them, or we never have an occupancy level that they actually get used. So we start taking them out and start, literally minusing people. It's like, oh, this house can sleep 12, but honestly it's better to just sleep 8. So we just started like, taking things out and like changing our listing so that we don't have to, because it's just we just see the averages that it's like we don't really accommodate that many people that often anyway, so it's really not worth, doing that. It's worth being in the 8, like 6 to 8, grouping instead of 10 to 12 or something in this case.
How did you come to that decision that less was more?
A lot of it was about truly, it was about like we not wanting to get any complaints. We have, one house that sleeps, it can very easily sleep 8. That's fine, but it only has one bathroom, and 8 people, 8 adults with one bathroom is not ideal
Oh yeah.
ever. But we do give a heads up anytime somebody books, for that many people. But then 2 of the beds are full beds. We can't fit anything bigger. And when it depends on the type of people that are coming. If it's a couple, it's fine. A full bed for a couple is not a big deal, but a full bed for 2 girlfriends to be sleeping in, maybe they don't really want to do that. So then we were utilizing this air mattress, and we don't like to have to use the air mattress. Like we put it there for a convenience of like, hey, if you guys want to use it, that's fine. And in one house, we have enough space for an air mattress. Another house, we really don't have enough space, but it's there in case somebody wanted it. So we just kind of looked at that, and then we looked at all of our numbers. Like we have a spreadsheet with every guest, every single guest that's ever come to our house, like how many people stayed, if they're adults, if they're infants, if they're children, if there were any pets. Like we only have one pet friendly house anyways, but and then we could see, okay, over 3 years it's only been used for this number of people like 5 times. So then it's like, okay, we really don't need to, have that many people. And honestly, the higher, like we have really big houses, we have a 6 bedroom, we have a 5 bedroom, like those are big houses, which means big numbers. So we just opted, well, we're not even getting people like that big anyway, so why don't we just go into the next one down? And now you're getting into different kinds of searches, because sometimes if somebody searches for 8 people, my house doesn't come up because my house is for 12 to 14 people. And it's crazy though, because 8 people is perfect for this house. Like there's 6 bedrooms with 8 beds. So it's literally perfect. And then, we had a cancellation the other day, and this person booked for 6 people, and it's a 6 bedroom house that can have 12 people. Well, it can have actually like 18, but I think we have it listed for 12. And they canceled, and they're like, hey, we have more people coming, so we can't book this anymore. And I'm like, we can sleep 12 people comfortably. And she's like, oh no, it's business, or it's a work thing, so everyone has to have their own bedroom. It's not even about the bed, it's about the bedroom count. So that was, and that doesn't happen often, but it's a reality of like, oh, okay. Like I love it when, we have somebody that's booked our 6 bedroom house that is only bringing 4 people. And that, but it accommodates that many people. Everybody can have their own bedroom, everybody can have their own bathroom. Like there's 2 kitchens, or there's 1 kitchen, 2 living rooms. Like it's so great, but
I
it's just
always
about
love,
those people.
yeah, I always love like thinking about this perspective when people are searching like, okay, yeah, you sleep 12, but do people look at it and go, oh, 12, we don't need that big,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
we don't,
I mean, personally, when I search, I'm searching for bed count, bedroom, and bathroom. Like honestly, those are the 3 things that I go for the most, because when I'm traveling, if I'm traveling with just my husband, then I don't care. Then I'm just looking for a king bed with a decent kitchen and like proximity. But then
Mhm.
when I'm, like meeting up with all my friends, and we're going to go to a place to do short-term rental mastermind, well, now I'm looking for bed count. Like how many people are going to potentially have to sleep in the same bed, and how many king beds are there, because we're not sleeping in the same bed unless they're king beds. Because then it's really reasonable. It's really big. And then how many bathrooms? I mean, is there 12 girls and there's only 1 or 2 bathrooms? Like that's not enough. Is there getting ready spaces? Like those are the
Right.
kinds of things I then start thinking of. And bunks are a thing. Like I know like you guys are in Arizona, and it seems like there's a lot more bunks and your guys' beds, because you can accommodate it. There still is 3 bathrooms. So it's like, okay, well, we can definitely bunk these people up. Well, then now you're looking at what's the age limit of the people that are coming. Because I've booked a trip for my mom's birthday where everybody, like she was turning 60 and everybody was 60 plus. They don't want bunk beds. They
No, they
complained
don't.
about it a lot. But we didn't have other options. It was like, this is where we're staying. So, it's thinking about those kinds of details that are pretty
Yeah,
important, usually.
in our location, the houses are smaller. Um, they're expensive and smaller and older. So, and then we host a lot of bachelorette parties. So it's like imperative to have bunk beds. Um,
Mhm.
Most 20 somethings they don't care about
Don't
sleeping
care.
in
Yeah,
bunk beds
they really
either.
don't.
But to be
But
honest
it's
with
about your
you,
avatar.
it is our avatar. And then, but we do the houses that where we don't have to sleep, we don't have to have bunk beds because we have enough space. We definitely advertise that. Like we don't have bunks.
Mhm.
Um, I
Yeah,
don't,
and sometimes it's about amenities. Like I know that your houses, like the 4 bedroom with a pool is what you're looking for. Yeah, it'd be really cool to have that 6 or 7 bedroom house,
doesn't
but it doesn't
exist.
have a pool. Like, yeah, that too.
It doesn't
Or
exist.
there's
It's
just
not,
huge square
and
footage.
yeah, I mean, if you're going for a 6 bedroom, you're kind of getting away from Old Town Scottsdale, which is where everyone wants to be because of the
Mhm.
shopping and the nightclubs and all of that. So, I mean, we just don't have 6 bedroom houses. Doesn't exist. Unless you're getting further out and then you're paying a lot.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's interesting to do stuff like this. I'm not really sure why we went off on this tangent,
I
but
don't either.
it's good for me. Okay, can you tell me, we were kind of having a conversation before we got like started recording about like, some of the differences in your stays, from Europe to here. You have a story about your Paris Airbnb. Do
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what it is?
So I've kind of been talking about it. It was so well designed. The design made my eyeballs so happy. But the functionality of it was it left it left me wishing. Like no hand towels in the bathrooms, no trash cans in the bathrooms. Um, but my eyeballs were really happy.
Mhm.
And so anyway, there was a list of things that came up and that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna remember to talk to them about this. How am I going to tell them? Because I know they're really proud of their design. And I don't know, it just got me thinking like, how do I tell them the things that are missing or that weren't great, despite the fact that their place was so well designed?
Mhm.
Um, and so then it came time to review or talking about the review, which I never did, probably expired, whatever, because we got busy traveling to the other places. I
Mhm.
never got to mention how great the design was in a review, and so it just got me thinking about how there's so many things that we could talk about in a review or complain about in a review that never get spoken about because you get busy and you move on to whatever life is outside of that stay. But even somebody in our group was like, I would give them a four star. This place was missing so many things, and I'm just thinking like, I didn't want to give them that. I didn't want to give
Mhm.
them a 4 star review because hand towels were missing, or
Yeah, you would still give them 5 and then you would just give private feedback. Like that's the whole
yeah.
thing. It's kind of like
Yeah, so it got
we're
me
in it.
thinking about the whole psychology. And I'm usually on the other end receiving the 5 stars or the occasional four. And just, we get really upset about it. But in the end, it was a great stay and we had a good time. I don't know what my story really is, except for like, I'm not on the guest side that often. And so, like, the mind fuck of trying to review a place that
That
was
was
really,
good, but there were some functional things that you're just like, hey, I've stayed in a lot of beautiful places, and the functionality, there is beautiful spaces and there's functionally great spaces. I think those are the two differences. And if I want to stay in a beautiful space, the likelihood is there's going to be some functionality that's not there. There's not like there wasn't space for a lamp. So they don't have a lamp, but I have to walk 12 steps to turn the light off. So that means I always have to bring my phone with me to turn the light off to get back to the bed because it's not my bedroom. I don't know where the freaking bed lands and I don't want to hit my toe. So, but I would never give them a bad review because of it, but I would probably still mention it to them.
yeah.
And this is interesting because I think one of the reasons that I even wrote that down was because we were talking about negative feedback versus positive feedback. You had so many great stays in Europe and a lot of it was positive, but you haven't really had to talk about it, or you haven't talked about it. But when we have a negative experience, we definitely will. Like any place that I stay, I don't care how much I'm spending. It doesn't matter anymore how much I'm spending. it's about it's the space, and now I'm getting busy with like having a good experience with the people I'm around. So I'm not checking in with the host to be like, oh, this place is so great, blah 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 blah, thank you for doing this. I have a positive experience, and I just think anybody I don't hear any feedback from, they're having a positive experience. I'm not looking for them to say anything to me, but it's such an interesting thing that on the flip side, if we have a negative experience, guess who's going to find out? The likelihood is higher, because actually there's plenty of times that I'll stay at a space and I'll be like, oh, this really bugged me. And they're like, oh, why didn't you tell me? And it's the same thing when I get a weird like 4-star, that I'm like, wait, why didn't you just let me know about that? Like I would have helped you with the thermostat that you couldn't figure out. Like all you had to do is say something. But it still seems like there's a lot more people that are more than willing to share the negative, but not the positive.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's definitely true. But then for me, I was also having this crisis in my mind. Like, wait, is it just because of my American standards? Like,
yes, that's a
do they
big
just
thing
not
when
have
you
trash cans
fall.
in the bathroom?
When you go to other countries, that is a really big thing. Is like trying to discern: is it an American standard, or is it my standard, or is it like how different is it? And how much more do you have to pay? Because sometimes it's like, oh, I'm just in Europe and I just want to pay for a cheap place because I'm just really going to the next place. So I might not pay as much, and that's when I don't get a hand towel and I don't get soap or whatever.
You know what? This circles back to the expectations conversation we had, because it is all about your expectations. Like, if
Hmm.
I paid a lot, I expect to have hand towels in a trash can. Um, but we also stayed in a refugio, which is kind of like a hostel in the ski area. It's like a hostel.
Oh,
In my
okay.
opinion, it's like a
Like I
hostel.
don't know what that is.
Basic. It's basic. In the mountains, like in the Alps. And it was a bed and like maybe a hook on the wall. And that's where I found a hair. And I was like, see a hair. Moving on. But my
Yeah,
expectation was,
low.
I'm just making sure I don't get bed bugs here. So like a hair is nothing. But
Yeah.
then I'm staying in a 5-star hotel in another stretch of this trip, and there's so many buttons on the wall, and my old eyes, I can't read what those buttons say. So I'm just pushing all the buttons and getting super frustrated which lights are coming on and off and how to like so it is completely expectations,
Yeah,
right?
and it's funny because we're always in charge of our expectations. Like when me and my husband are on a road trip, and seriously, we're just like passing through a town, but we have to sleep, and we don't want to sleep in the truck. But like, I don't care if I'm paying $60 for a night in America. I know
Right.
it's going to be a really shitty place, but I am completely okay with that because my expectations are set at that. But if I'm paying $450 a night for a hotel that I've been looking forward to because I love, like The Graduate or something, like they're beautiful spaces, they know how to market, they do all these things, my expectations are higher. And you're completely right. The hair thing, $60 a night, I am gonna move. Honestly, I am the person that's just gonna move the hair. I don't fucking care. I know that it's fucking clean. I'm okay with it. If they're rustled and stuff and it looks like somebody like in a
Right.
strudel, completely different. But a hair is not that big of a deal. But at a $450 a night place, I'm probably gonna say something to the front desk person because I have expectations that are a
Right.
lot higher because I'm assuming that they know that, like that they are. And then there's this weird thing where we're in hospitality, so now we feel like we're being helpful by telling you, hey, there's all kinds of things wrong, or this is what it is. But it's just because it is. It's like there's so many times in my houses that I'll get something on a review that I'm like, how long has that been broken? Like, why didn't anybody tell me? Sometimes my cleaners don't even tell me because they're just going through their motions, just like a
Yep.
guest was going through theirs. I'm like, holy shit, like this towel rack literally fell off the wall and I didn't know. And
Right.
whoops.
Especially if it's something like you would only need, like sitting on the toilet, you notice it, but like how often are you
Yeah,
in the house like
rocks.
that? Yeah.
You're
Like
not,
you
and a guest wouldn't say it. So even though I kind of hate feedback because I'm a perfectionist, I love feedback because I wouldn't have known I needed to fucking do that. Like I'm just realizing, even talking about this, we redid a bathroom and we forgot we have hooks on the back of the door that were always on there that didn't get moved around, but we used to have 12 hooks like literally on
Mm.
the wall, and I'm just now realizing we've never put the hooks back up.
There's just really not enough hooks anywhere
Ever.
in the whole
Nowhere.
world. There's just
There,
not
there
enough
isn't.
hooks.
Yeah, if you're a short-term rental person, put hooks in a bedroom because I've gone back and forth with people about this, and they're like, "Well, yeah, but there's already hooks in the bathroom," and I'm like, "Yeah, but when you're staying at a house and there's 10 people there, where are you getting ready? Are you getting ready in the bathroom? Or are you getting ready in the bedroom?
And you also
And
don't
where
know
is
whose
that
towel is
towel?"
what
Uh
anymore.
huh. That's another thing that's the reason that I hadn't put up the hooks yet because I was trying to figure out, well, how do I do this? It's almost like I know people who have done like you assign hooks or there's letters or numbers or something. And that was one of the reasons I hadn't put hooks up because I was like, well, how can I say like this is for this bedroom, this is for this bedroom, this is for this bedroom? Because I always have to tell my husband, I'm like, I sleep on the right side of the bed, so my hook is the right one. He doesn't think like that. I'm crazy. But I'm like, but that's how in my head I can justify that's the hook that I'm always using is the right one because I don't want to use your towel. I want to use my towel. It's so
Yep.
stupid and weird. But any host that's listening, if you get anything out of this, I don't care if you get zero else, put more hooks in your house. I do not care how many hooks it is. Put more hooks in your house. I promise they'll be used. They're so
Let me tell you
great.
about this bougie 5-star place I stayed in. Um, by the way, this was booked for us as part of a tour. So, it ranged from Refugio, which is like a 1-star, all the way up to 5. We stayed in 2-star, 3-star, whatever, and we stayed in somewhere every night. But this one place gave white bathrobes for in the bathroom for in the hotel room, and then black um, ones for the spa. So you
Wow.
wear the black ones down to the spa, and the white ones were supposed to stay in the room. Well, in the bathroom there was one hook. There's towels
Oh,
and four and four robes.
robes.
So I was like, gosh, and I felt even more stupid complaining about like four
But at the
different
same
robes.
time, it's that expectation though. A five
Yeah.
star, you would expect everything to be thought of because you're paying $1,000 a night, like whatever
Well,
it is. It
yeah.
is. It's all about the expectation, and it's so interesting because we, as hosts, as owners, as hospitality professionals, we set that expectation. We set it with our communications. We set it with our listing. We set it with our, I mean, truly everything with our design, with our intention. So if your intention is to forget about this thing, then you forgot about the thing and it's worth less money because of it.
It's just really, I find it to be such a fascinating process to think about the usability of everything that you're putting in there. And I think that a lot of hosts drop this part or forget it is like, okay, I'm going to provide robes. Well, who's going to wash those robes?
It
How many
is.
robes
It's
do
a
you
lot
even
more
have to buy?
laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many loads of laundry is that going to add? How many do you need? Because you can't just have one for each person. You've got to probably have 2 or 3 times, just like sheets and towels and whatever. And then where are they going to hang these robes? And just the whole process from beginning to end. And so obviously in this scenario in this hotel, that part, like that usability part, kind of was forgotten or not considered. I don't like to think that somebody like didn't
They
do it
didn't
on purpose.
intentionally do it.
Right.
No, absolutely not. It was the fact that they're like, "Oh yeah, hooks." Like somebody was just like, "Yeah, just make sure there's a hook in there." That was it. That was the whole conversation. The
Right.
the the intentionality is different when you actually care. And another thing about robes, who is it going to fit? I've been in a lot of places, and typically, like the big box Hiltons that have robes, they have big, extra large, fluffy robes. They're large. I've been in houses where I'm like, oh man, I didn't know I was going to get chubby shamed today because
Oh
you don't fit in
no.
it. Like, and my husband's a big guy. Like, I mean, he's a big guy. He wouldn't fit in a typical robe anyways, and not like he's trying to walk around in robe. He doesn't care. But it's like, are they for only dainty people? Like, that's another really weird thing that I never knew I would have to care about. But I recall having, like, the reason Wendy just said all of that stuff about robes is because she's had to go through this exercise and one of the houses that was supposed to, it was about a spa feel. And spa feels do have robes, but it's like, who are you accommodating? Is do you have like, because you're never going to ask your guests like, hey, do you need a large or an extra
Hi,
large or a
what's your
small
size?
robe?
What?
No, like that's not a fucking thing. But you would have to still consider it pending the people that you're having come into your houses. If it's typically a bachelorette party, it's totally fine. Yep, you're gonna do that. But it's something you would never think of until you have to deal with it, until you have to hang up the robes, like have to hang up on the wall. And yeah, these are things that
And the
hospitality people
slippers.
obsess over.
And there were
Mhm.
slippers and flip
Oh my
flops for the spa. So there was like one smaller size and one bigger size. But
god. Uh-huh.
like, what if it's two dudes? What
What
if it's
if
two women? What if it's,
yeah.
I don't know, two people with ginormous feet? You know?
It's like, yeah, do you call down and ask for a difference? Can you bring up another big one? And it's just about the experience. Like I
Hmm.
said, like I didn't know I was going to have to think about my size versus a robe. I didn't need the robe anyways. I used towels, but it still made me think a certain way and feel a certain way that it's like, shit, I'm not intentional. Like I know that host personally, not intentional kind of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, this is, yeah, we could digress into a lot more.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this could go on for hours.
It totally could. Okay, gonna start wrapping up. Tell me, if there's anything you're looking for, anybody you're looking for, like, what's on the horizon?
I'm not really, I mean, I'm looking to slow down. Um,
Some-
I don't know. I just re-entered the world from vacation mode, so I'm looking I'm looking to not lose my mind the first few days.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, to if they wanted to like potentially be coached by you in some way, like how would they go about that? And then
Okay.
if they just wanted to reach out and follow you, how would they do that?
They could come find me on Instagram. It's at mostess.host, mostess dot host. And you could DM me there. And if you are interested in HBM, I have a referral code or link, so I could send that to you. And so we do office hours where you can ask questions, and then obviously the community we have where we answer questions on Facebook. So that would be the best place to get coached.
Mhm.
And if you want to stay with us, you can go to mostess.host is our website.
Yeah, and I'll link all of that stuff. Like I've stayed in Wendy's houses. They're freaking awesome. They do really good hosting. And this is kind of what I was talking about is like I want to stay with people that I know. I already know like how much they care. Like when you see hosts, if you guys could all see behind the scenes, if you're not a host, you would see some very obsessive behavior. It's so obsessive. And it's the tiniest things. They're just like, ah, my gosh, I was supposed to paint this green and khaki and it's all green. And seriously, that's the kind of stuff that we obsess over is like, oh my gosh, but my design needs to be this and this color. It's so crazy. And we obsess over what kind of coffee and how much toilet paper and what kind of toilet paper and how many towels to leave. So, like if you're an Airbnb or you stay on Airbnb, find the hosts that are really good, book direct with them, like patron them. I don't know what fucking word that is now. Patronize,
Sounds
is
right,
that
but
like
now
a,
I'm
I
second
know,
guessing
but
it.
it's used in two different ways. Well, whatever. Just go to them directly. And if you ever need suggestions, you can always ask me and Wendy because we know a lot of really great hosts across the country, sometimes across the world. I'm looking for a place in Portugal right now. I'm like, shit, I don't know anybody in Portugal, and Mark Simpson doesn't know anybody in Portugal that I could
What?
reach out to either. I know. I'm just like, well, what the heck? So if
Try
anybody knows
Justin
any
Ford.
Portugal people, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I should ask him. But yeah. Anyways, I digress. Thank you, Wendy. I hope you guys got something out of this. Wendy is a wealth of knowledge. Like it's always good to, be around people that just do things differently. She challenges me in ways that I can't even put into words, and sometimes I hate it, and most of the time I love it.
I hate it
And she
too. I
also
hate my own brain sometimes for the obsessive thoughts about robes and hooks, but
no, it's really fun to go down rabbit holes with you. So I happen to enjoy it. She's one of the hosts that I talk to on a very, very regular basis, except when she's gallivanting
yes,
over in Europe for a couple of weeks, which is well deserved because we also don't take enough vacations. So glad you got to do that.
true.
And yeah, but thanks for the time today, Wendy. You're fucking awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Bye, guys.